All right. Hey, Mount Hamilton. Coach Adam here again, club head coach. I'm here today with a really special guest. I'm really happy to host Monti Mohsen, Forge FC player and professional. Hey, Monty, how you doing?
Good, and you?
Good. I'm doing good. First off, I got to start off by asking this. How does it feel to be forever first?
Um, Very good. I can tell you that much. Obviously, just having any significant impact on Canadian soccer and having that first impact, I think, is obviously very, very nice because I'm very young. I still have I have a lot of time in my career, but to have that and to know that no one can take that from me, that I'm in like the history books for Canadian soccer in general. So for me, it was amazing. Obviously, my involvement last year is like that's like where I look at it and see like maybe I could do it a second time, but maybe play more. So, but it was definitely a big thing to win that with my teammates, and now know that we're forever bonded by a gold medal.
I think that's really fitting. I think definitely that you said that you've won at a young age. As we know, and those watching know, winning championships is not something you can just, it's not a walk in the park. But you mentioned that you're young. How old are you? Where were you born?
19, and I was born in Ottawa, Ontario, capital Canada.
Capital City, of Canada. Cool.
Exactly.
What did you have it? So, what was a club that you first started playing with in Ottawa or around Ottawa?
So I started around the age of I think 4 or 5. I played with a club called Ottawa St. Anthony's Italia Club. So it was just like a smaller club in Mount Hamilton, actually, just in a team run by Italians, I guess, and Little Italy. And I've been there for I think 3 or 4 years, maybe 5. And once my teammates level started dropping a bit, I had to a quick transfer. Started playing with a team called Ottawa Gloucester Hornets. Not sure if you're aware of them, but it's an old team, I guess. But yeah, I started playing there. We played our first year in L3, and then got bumped up to OYSL, which is now OPDL, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. First year of OYSL, we were like in the middle of the pack table. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. But second year, we picked it up a little bit. We came first in the league. Our record was like 14 wins, 1 tie, 1 loss, which is like I'm pretty certain is the best record.
The world record for Ottawa.
for Ontario, honestly.
Yeah.
But we lost the finals, but
so you guys did all the way. You did well through the whole season, but you just didn't get there when it mattered, right?
Exactly. Which is obviously it burns, but it happens. And then I moved on. So things happened. We moved on to a team called Ottawa Internationals, and that was a men's Premier League. Mm-hmm. So maybe like a few years back, I would have been playing against you or some of the other coaches I know. But that was actually a good experience. It was like not my first time, but a more real time of me playing with older, stronger, more physical players. I did have the advantage of being a little bit smarter and a little bit more technical than them. But like to be put in a field with guys that are like triple the size of me, triple the physicality, was like a eye opener because like I had to adjust the way I played. Having to, like, for example, if I'm going against a big defender that maybe isn't fast, if I scissor him one, beat him with pace, then I can get him, but I can't get too close or he's going to bully me.
That's right.
So that was a very, very much eye opener for me. And then things happened. I was on the Ontario, the provincial team for 3 years.
What age did you start there?
Well, I first made it U15, and then U16, then U17. I actually had the honor of winning the Canada Games.
Nice. And
which was nice. We won that in Winnipeg. So we hold that against any other province currently until they have the next one. And I actually did it with I don't know if you played for Matt Hamilton, but I did it with Ryan Raposo.
Yeah, Ryan Raposo.
Player.
Ryan Raposo
Yeah.
plays. Those of you who aren't aware, Ryan Raposo plays for Vancouver Whitecaps now. I guess that's really close to home for us for sure.
Yeah.
And so you guys got to share that experience. So
Exactly. Yeah. That was my first experience with Ryan, and I was impressed. Yeah.
Needless to say, that's what our Mount Hamilton club produces: is players,
Exactly.
minds, and quick speed, agility, and lots of brain power. So, I mean, we talked about how you're up against men when you were pretty much a boy, and how that's a challenge, and how you had to use your mind and rather than just your physicality. How important is it for footballers to be smart and have a brain in this game?
I think it's very important because you have to find a way to make yourself valuable, and sometimes you may be very slow but very strong, but very technical, or you can be very fast and not very technical. You have to kind of work with your skill set and your ability, and like what your talent is. So you work on that. But having a mind, anyone can have a soccer mind. You don't have to be Lionel Messi, where like that's just God-given talent.
Next level of
exactly. But
soccer.
When you have that mindset, when you go home and you watch soccer from 9:30 in the morning, watching the Red Devils play, and then going on in like 3 games later, you're watching Chelsea against Southampton, like just little things like that, where you're seeing players in live action, like even though you're not thinking for them, it's almost as if you were able to like say, oh, he just pinged that ball 30 yards. I know he did that because like to open space up, or he turned this way because the guy was coming from this angle. And just having all those thoughts in your head is like is a building block to becoming a pro, to even just being a good player in general.
That's a good point, actually. And speaking of back to like how you were young, you may have been smaller than these players. You said you had more of a mind. I know you were technically better than them because I've seen you on the ball and I've seen you technically. Now, those are some challenges, but you've had quite a career already at such a young age. And like, what are some of the challenges in your career that you've had to overcome other than that one? Like, what are some of the challenges you overcame to get to be a professional?
Yeah, well, so U17, when I was with the French team, actually, like I think a month or 2 before that, I got called up to the national team, the U17 national team, and which obviously was a very big honor for me because that was something I was actually like striving for a very long time. And like I had 2 friends that were there, and like obviously like me knowing I have it in me to make it there, it was something that like I worked hard for, and obviously when I achieved it, I was very, very happy. But obviously nothing always works out for you, and I actually got there and I was a bit late because everyone was there together for years. No excuses. I didn't deserve to play, and that was on me. That was just I wasn't working hard enough. Was it good enough? I guess. So that's just how football is. Survival of the fittest, I guess. And that was obviously like a knockdown for me. Like I got to go to the tournaments and stuff, but I went to Panama for the World Cup qualifier, but I didn't play, which is obviously a bummer. But I was like, you know what? I gotta keep my head up because this is one thing that I put my mind to that I achieved. So I was like, you know what? Then anything is literally possible, because this was something I thought wasn't achievable until the head coach of the U17 national team was at an Ontario team practice. So it's like anything can happen, right?
So
and
you also said, there's to cut you up, but you mentioned something about keep your head up. I want to relate that to soccer. How important is it for young players to keep their head up when they have the ball? Not only when they have the ball, let's say, how important is it for young players to, if they have had a setback, to keep their chins up and to keep going?
Oh, it's actually vital as a footballer to have that trait, because, and I can tell you, I'm young and I've obviously had those days where I just put my head down and had a very bad game, and that happens to everyone.
Absolutely.
But I think the resilient ones, the ones that are saying to themselves like, yeah, I can achieve something, or I can do something, and keep their head up. Those are the players that achieve things. And like you'll see, like you've watched, and I know, Coach Andy, like you like the Red Devils. I'm sure you've watched many games where, for example, maybe exactly, maybe like Rio Ferdinand makes a goal costing error, but then 5 minutes later saves a goal.
Or
Exactly, or scores a goal, and it's like if he didn't pick his head up, then that may have never happened. And it's not like people think that's a correlation, but it actually is, because like if you're not confident in yourself to bounce back from that mistake, then it's gonna be a hard like battle to fight. But if you pick your head up right away and say to yourself like I got this, then I think that's like the most key thing for a footballer, because confidence is like literally what makes or breaks you.
Absolutely. I'm gonna keep on that confidence right there, because I like how you said that word, confidence. Sometimes in football, when you've made those mistakes, or you've cost a goal from a mistake or whatever it is, it's hard to keep confident. And I guess, what are some of the mental tools that you use pre-game or in-game to stay focused and to kind of, okay, I made a mistake. We're all going to make mistakes. I know I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to forget about that. I'm going to work hard to keep going. So what are some of the mental tools that you use to lessen those mistakes?
Yeah. So my first year in Ottawa, when I played with the Fury, I honestly don't remember which player it was, but one of the players, he told me, is like, just connect your first pass. Like when you're in a game, just connect your first pass. Good. And like, to me, when he said it to me, I was like, obviously, like, it's like, oh, are you insulting me? But I realized that's actually like a barrier in a game, where it's like, once you start off on the right foot, it's like hard for you to ruin the game. Yeah. But if you progress slowly into a game, instead of like picking your head up and trying to drive a 40-yard ball in the first play of the game, just connect your first pass to get that confidence, like, oh, my passes are on today. So then when the game gets going and the field opens up, then you can start spraying them. And for me, that was like a thing obviously, and I'm certain every soccer player does that, where it's like, if you're a striker, it's, oh, can I score my first shot? That doesn't always happen, but it's a challenge you set for the game.
I think, would you say it's a guideline you sort of play by to, keep yourself positive and give you those opportunities when you may not have them all the time?
I think that's a very good word to use, actually. Yeah, it is a guideline almost, because it's like, you want to start yourself on the right foot. It's a game 90 minutes. In a 30-second span, you'll make a mistake, but your very first play, you want to try to make it as best as possible. There are players that have missed their first pass, but then had an excellent game. So that obviously there's no like correlation, but like sometimes it's just like a mental thing, where it's like, let me get my first pass, then I'll start playing, then I'll start moving.
I think I want to use that, and highlight that, I should say, for anybody watching now. We all get nervous. I'll tell you that. I know. I'm going to ask you that question next. I mean, I know when I used to play, I would get nervous like crazy, and nerves I used to thrive off of, because you only get nervous when you're sitting there waiting for the whistle, and then when everything kind of starts going, you get into it. So speaking of nervous and making mistakes because you're nervous, what was it like to step on to the field in your first ever CPL game? How was your nerves? What was it like?
Well, obviously, I don't know how far this comment will go, but I just think that, like, you don't have butterflies when you play or when you have a big game. I think it's like, I don't know.
You're right.
I don't like it.
I will agree with that. If you don't have butterflies, it's almost like, now there's exception to every people, so let's listen to that. If you don't have butterflies, maybe you don't care as much. And I'm just going to say it out there flat. Now, you can be overly confident and walk around and make mistakes, right? But if you don't have butterflies, I like that. If you don't have butterflies, maybe you should start to, take a little bit more pride in your game, maybe.
Yeah. And like you said, there's I'm sure there's hundreds and millions of exceptions. I'm sure there's players that are ice cold, and just like Cristiano Ronaldo, maybe just steps on the field and knows what he's going to do. But like, for me personally, when I stepped onto that field that very first time, it was, you know what though? Now that I'm thinking about it, that wasn't my worst experience, because so when I signed for Ottawa Fury, I actually started the very first game of the very first of the season, and like I signed a week before as well. So like that was obviously like and for me to step on, and I was 17 years old, and obviously my season after that wasn't very good, but in that moment to step on the field and I just felt this like I was playing in Charlotte, but like to me in my mind I was like playing in Santiago Bernabeu. Like that's the amount of nervousness and the amount of butterflies I felt, because I was like, this is like my first step in like to my dream, right? So like it was just like more than just the game. It's kind of weird, but it was more than just the game for me. It was just like the future and like everything else.
I just sorry to interrupt you. I don't think it's weird at all.
No.
I think it's bang on. I think that everything that you're saying now can relate to the players that are going to be watching this, and that's more than half the battle. Why I wanted to interview you, to get your outlook on it and to show how close to home, being a professional can be now in the CPL. So, which brings me to another question. So, as athletes, we love routine. You wake up, you have breakfast. If it's game day, there's a certain routine. The training, there's a certain routine. What I want to do is I want to go in a day in the life of Monty, from the time he opens up his eyes to on a game day, what happens, right down to your playlist of your music. Take me through that day of a game day.
That's gonna, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. That's gonna be a very tough one for me, because I'm very much not a routine guy per se.
That's okay.
Let's just say that, because like sometimes I used to actually be that person that had a routine, and one day it really got to me. Like I was playing the men's premier game, and it got to me. Something was wrong that day, and I was just like, if I keep doing this, I'm gonna like ruin my cycles.
Yeah.
So I just decided like not to really have a routine per se, but kind of
sort of switch it up.
Just switch it up, exactly. But I would say like my routine, for example, like I would eat like 3 or 4 hours before the game. I don't like being like stuffy or anything, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'd want to eat 3 or 4 hours before the game. I would try not to do anything too strenuous. I wouldn't like run, obviously, or I'd go for maybe a walk, play some FIFA, just like kind of get my mind off. One thing that I do like doing a lot, I guess you couldn't call it a routine, is before every game I'll watch like Marcelo, I'll watch Andrew Robertson. I just watch a bunch of left backs like in my position doing all the right things, so that I visualize it, so that in the game I can maybe do it or even just think about it. Because I think like when you visualize something, it puts that thought in your head much faster than like reading it or just like thinking about it. But
how important is visualizing as a tool, like during a game? So, for example, for me, I played as a striker, sort of like a number 9 center forward type of player who would, I would be sort of up at half, visualizing balls coming in and visualizing myself making a run to receive and finish it. How important is visualizing in your position and what you do?
Well, I think visualizing is very important, and like I also think it's very important like before the game, because like I'm sure every footballer the night before the game or even the night before practice is like thinking of like, what skill do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish in this game tomorrow? Do I want to score 3 goals? Do I want to assist 3? Do I want to get 100% passing? Actually, I think every person does that. Like every footballer does that.
Yeah.
And but in a game, it is very important, because sometimes, and that's a confidence thing. It's like you're gonna visualize the things that you can do. Like you're not gonna honestly speaking, I wouldn't visualize myself scoring a bicycle kick from half, because that's not realistic.
No, I mean,
right?
Coach Adam might in his retirement, but
and that's fair. If you think you do and you do it, then Zlatan almost did it. So.
You gotta be realistic. You gotta be realistic to what your goals are, but shoot for the stars, but don't aim too far, right?
Exactly. And so when you visualize in the game, it's like it helps a lot, because sometimes like you'll receive the ball, and that's where your thought process comes into play. Now it's like, do I ping it 30 yards or do I give this through ball, like a 10-yard through ball? It's like you're visualizing what you think is gonna. It's really crazy, because you're thinking right on the spot. Like you're thinking 3 plays ahead. So like you're like, oh, if I ping the ball there, then he's gonna have a 1v1 against the left back. Or if I play the ball play a through ball, he's gonna have a shot on goal. So like you're thinking like 3 steps ahead, which is obviously visualizing. And
Yeah,
I think
I think even in football itself, you know, every action that you make has another reaction on the other side. There's something has happened, another movement. So visualizing what's going to happen as it's happening and even before is key. I would agree with too. So,
yeah.
So now let's get into like a philosophical sort of thing here. If you could describe football in one word, what would it be? Right? Oh, get a dictionary out because you only have one word to answer this.
For me or just
For
in
you,
general?
if you had to describe, yeah, for you, for Monty, for whatever, if you had to describe football in one word, what would it be?
I honestly don't want to be cheesy, but like
There's no cheesy. It is what
like life is
done.
it's literally
Great.
my life.
That is a great. Honestly, coming from Monty, football is life. I like that.
I'm just gonna, but I want to tell you a little backstory though.
Okay.
So all like since the age of 5, every school project, every little thing, like when I used to make my emails, when I used to like make accounts for whatever stuff, it always had to do something with soccer. Every time I ever got a gift, it was soccer related. As you know, there was days where like I'd actually be bothered by that sometimes. I'm like, can I get something else? Like I don't want
Give me a
I don't want a soccer ball. Exactly. Like I don't want a soccer ball.
Yeah.
Then I realized like I portrayed that. Like I would go to school wearing soccer jerseys and track pants.
Yeah.
Like in elementary school.
Now, what soccer jersey would you wear? Hang on. Let's get what soccer jersey would you wear? Now,
honestly,
that's another way of me asking what your favorite team is.
No. So this is the thing. This is the issue. Obviously, when you're young, you bandwagon certain players and you favor certain people.
For sure.
I had like a crazy amount of jerseys, but I know you're a diehard fan. I'm not, but I used to wear all the United jerseys, like all of them. Like I had the black 07, 08, the blue 07, 08. Yeah, like those were my favorite jerseys. I used to wear them all the time. It was bad.
I got some old ones upstairs right now, buddy. They just a little torn up. I don't want to get rid of them, you know?
Yeah. With the AIG in there.
You know, there's like half the Rooney is like just says Uni. Says Uni.
Exactly.
Good.
But yeah, life's the word.
Life is the word. I think that's good. So I'm gonna kind of wrap it up here with another philosophical question. It doesn't have to be soccer now. Let's think about you as a human being. It doesn't have to be soccer, but what is important to you as a human being?
Well, family, football, health, happiness. But I think like my happiness is like with all of those combined.
Family, football, health, happiness. And honestly, yeah. I think that you just in the shortest answer, nailed it. You just nailed it exactly what I wanted to hear. And then lastly, how does being a professional athlete make you a better person? Good one, eh?
That is a good one. I think, wow, that's a good one.
What lessons have you learned from being a professional athlete to make you a better person?
One thing I have learned from, well, so I was raised really well, and like I kind of understood these things before, but like being an athlete, I think censorship is a big one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like how you portray yourself on, and like obviously now we have social media is a huge thing in our era.
Yeah.
So I think how you portray yourself on social media, how you portray yourself to anybody, because like, and like I can say it with all confidence, like you're someone that's very good at connecting with people and making connections and like helping yourself move forward, but also not ruining any relationships and helping other people. And I think
well, thank you.
One thing I have learned actually, like I guess it is professionalism and just respecting everyone. And like I have a common respect for everyone, but I also respect you in a way that I know that one day, maybe 10 years from now, you're the head coach of Forge, and maybe I want some help from you, right?
That's no problem.
Yeah, no, you never know, right? Like, and so like maybe one day I'm gonna need something from you, or I'm gonna want some help. I know that my respect came a long way for you, and like maybe you might forget who I am, but I can remind you. Mm-hmm. But like I know that you're not gonna think anything negative of me. And I just think that being professional, being respectful, like football teaches you that. Obviously, there's some demons when you get mad, you lose,
Sure.
like you cry. But I think it just teaches you to be respectful. It teaches you to respect everyone. It teaches you to be passionate, to be understanding. I think it's just like it's the best teacher, right? I guess.
You're right. So it makes you a better person by making you become more respectful to your teammates and your coaching or the staff or the people that you're going to see in the future, like you said. And yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man. You don't want to. I know you on a personal level now too, and over the past month, we've come into a good relationship. We have fun. We joke around, but when it's time to get serious, it's time to
Yeah,
get
exactly,
serious,
exactly.
right? So last question. Do you have any advice for young players aspiring to play in the CPL next to you?
Advice. Well, it's very cliche, but obviously, hard work is life. There's no other answer than hard work.
That's right.
But I also think just be confident in yourself and just hope for the best. I think that's one thing that's helped me along the way is like being hopeful, working hard but being hopeful, not sitting down in bed, not doing anything, and then saying you're hopeful. Work and be hopeful, because like you want to be confident. You want to work hard, and when you work hard, you want to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. That like all this hard work will pay off. I just think it's work hard, be hopeful.
I like that a lot. Yeah. So if I was to say, if there's a player watching this and I would say, what did you get out of that interview with Monti? I'd say, number one, you need to visualize everything you do in football. Number two, be confident in you as a player. Number three, keep your head up, never give up. Number four, work really hard. And number five, football is life. Thank you very much, Monti. Mount Hamilton, this is Monti Mohsen with Forge FC. I appreciate it, Monti. I can't wait to see you back out on the field. We're going to be rooting for you really hard. And thank you very much for the time.
Yeah.
All right. Ciao.
Ciao.